Listen, I stopped creating content because depression was kicking my ass. No, I'm joking, but that is part of it. But there's a few reasons why I stopped creating content. Art is your creation. Art is your baby. It's what you're producing, what you're putting out into the world for people to consume, for people to analyze. And also, what we don't want to mention when it comes to art, and I consider content creation art. I don't just consider music art or actual drawings or sketches art, but content creation in itself is a form of art. And when you're putting this art out into the world, you're literally giving people your baby, you're giving people your child. And what we don't like to discuss is that art can be extremely egoic. You can become really neurotic about how people perceive you. And so I did mention the mental health aspect, which was, it probably constituted at least 8 to 9% of why I actually stopped producing content. And my ego is tied into what I am producing. In this confessional, I'm going to be extremely candid and transparent that I do have my faults. I do have my shortcomings when it comes to my own ego. My ego has been predicated upon what I know. My ego has been predicated and framed and set on this particular foundation of people respecting my acumen, people respecting my intelligence, and then by extension, my platform, my content was often associated and connected with my ego. So one of the things that prevented me from making content, and once again, like I said, the mental health aspect, the ego constituted about 7 to 9% of why I stopped creating content, but my ego was tied into it. So my ego is everyone has to like what I'm doing. My ego is that everybody has to approve of what I'm talking about. There's certain subjects and topics that I did not talk about, certain issues I wanted to cover, but I did not cover because I was thinking about what would my peers think. I was thinking about what would my family think if they were to see me discuss specific issues, things that I really was adamant about and passionate about. And I refrained from actually speaking about it because I let the perception of others put me into a prison creatively of what I'm supposed to talk about what I'm supposed to give to the world. And the idea or the concept of people not liking me, even if it's one person, if not everyone is liking what I'm doing, it has to be wrong. If not everyone is liking what I'm doing, I should not be a content creator. If not everyone is liking what I'm doing, nobody cares about what I have to say. If my friends aren't liking every single post or commenting on everything or sharing everything, then that's indicative of the fact that I need to quit, or at least I need to brainstorm about what it is I'm actually doing. So there was a myriad of issues that went into why I actually stopped producing content. One of them being I put out an episode where I was speaking about issues related to Black men. So on social media, there's this perennial gender war, which I'm getting extremely tired of, but there is a gender war. And in this gender war, you have these echo chambers and people, these pseudo intellectuals, people that claim they care about African-American people or Black people, but all they do is preach divisive rhetoric. There is a preponderance of these types of platforms. And so many times we're speaking on at the behest of Black women, and we should, because there's so much sexism, there's so much limitations that are imposed upon Black women. They're held to standards that no other group of women are held to when it comes to aesthetics or beauty, when it comes to careers, when it comes to intellectual prowess. There are certain standards that Black women are held to that others are not. And I've often used my platform to speak about it, but I want to discuss Black men. And I noticed when I put it out there in my little short on YouTube, it didn't really gain a lot of motion. And I said, this must mean that I'm horrible. This must mean that I have to stop doing content and I'm going to leave this alone. So I left it alone. I pulled the episode down. I did not promote it. And I did it off of the fact of no one liking it within a few hours of me putting the episode up. People pleasing and the need for validation from my peers destroyed me. And this has been a problem that I've struggled with my entire life, because there were many instances in my childhood I felt abandoned and I was isolated, not at the fault of my parents, but just because of myself, the way I was raised, the fact that for a large period of my life, I was an only child. So I didn't have the collective of children around to teach me how to properly acclimate and socialize with other people. So when I got into school, and this began to extend from school to church to other extracurricular activities, I basically anchored my self-worth into people saying that you're a good guy. I anchored my self-worth into people approving of what I'm doing. So before I would take on any project, whether it was music, whether it was writing, whether it was something that was related to sports, I looked to my friends, I looked to my peers to give me that okay, that validation that I was doing well. And if I felt some sort of modicum of disagreement or dissenting opinion, I would abandon something that I wanted to do because I wanted people to support me. And people pleasing is a poison. People pleasing is a mental illness. The need to have the validation of your peers and your family, it can hold you back from so many things in life that are going to bless you, because your fear of rejection outweighs the potential blessings that God, the universe may have for you. So the punishment that we face for being people pleasers is that we miss out on an abundance of blessings. We miss out on an abundance of prosperity because we let the fear of rejection, of rejection from our peers, the fear of rejection from our teachers, the fear of rejection from our family outweigh the blessings that God potentially has for us. And that's why I found myself as a content creator. I didn't think about perseverance. I didn't think about commitment. I did not think about what if this wins. I did not think about what if I am successful at this. I thought about my friend doesn't like this. I thought about I sent this to my uncle. He didn't say anything. I thought about, hey, I sent this to my cousins. They didn't say anything. Oh, people that went to high school with me told me my flyer was whack. I have friends, literally, I've had people call me up and say discouraging things about my platform to me on the phone. There were so many things that went into me stopping as it relates to my friends, peers, family, and associates. People that have no calling or vocation in life are dangerous, because people that have no calling or vocation in life, this leads to envy. And what happens is that envious people want to get close to you, to observe you, to see what you're doing. I saw a sister put a post up on Instagram, or it might have been YouTube, and she was talking about people stealing your destiny. And this is something that I've gone through personally. Now, let me preface this by saying I don't believe that I'm special. I don't believe that I'm better than anyone else. But when the Most High, when God, if you want to say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever you want to say, put something in my mind and my heart that I want to do, I go for it. Now, I do battle the perceptions that people have of me when I do go for these things. And sometimes I pull back, as I mentioned, from certain goals, because I'm letting that anchor me, their perception and their applause of what I'm doing be my motivation. And I've fallen victim to that over and over again. And once again, it came up because, believe it or not, I had people that I looked at as friends, as family, would literally call me on the phone to tell me that they did not like my platform. I had a homeboy call me on the phone and tell me that my platform was going to fail. I know this sounds like I'm exaggerating, but it's not. I literally had friends call me, and while we're on the phone, they're saying things like, you know, I would never want to do a podcast by myself because those podcasts are never good. Mind you, they're speaking to me on the phone. These are people that are supposed to be my friends and family, but I have received the most negative energy from people that are supposed to be my friends and family. And the most support I've received are from people that don't even know me, people that have never broke bread with me, people that have never seen me in real life. But because I received these calls and I had these conversations, and don't get it confused, I pushed back. I didn't have to sit there and allow people to say these things to me. I put so much blood, I put so much sweat into this platform. So I didn't just sit there and let people say these things to me. But what hurt me and what twisted my spirit and crushed my mental health is that the people that I would think would be there for the support are the same exact people that were calling me and basically trying to torpedo my dreams, trying to torpedo this platform. I've had people, like I said, family, basically say the same thing. And yet, people will still want to follow you and keep tabs about what you're doing. And this also went into me saying, you know what? I think I'm done with this. It's not worth it anymore. I don't want to do this no more. All of these things went into it. And I'll be remiss if I didn't share that, because honestly, we say this, this bullshit that words don't hurt, but words do hurt. Especially when it's coming from a source that you consider supportive, especially when it's coming from people that you love, especially when it's coming from people that you respect. I literally have people that I know that try to steal and jack ideas from my platform while telling me my platform is horrible. I've had people literally certain concepts, the way I shoot my stuff, the way I articulate myself. I've seen them try to do the exact same thing, but tell me that my platform is horrible, but take my stuff and try to go and emulate it everywhere else. I can name, but I'm not going to do that, at least 15 people that I've seen do this. But I'll say, hey, can we do? But once again, all of these things went into why I stopped podcasting. And so it's a mental health thing, it's a people pleasing thing, and it's a thing of my friends and family. Not all of my friends, because I have friends that were really riding for me and that really showed love. But then I had a lot of people that were really negative to the point to actually call me and tell me that my platform is going to fail. The second reason why I stopped podcasting, truthfully, is because I had a creative block. I used to be an MC. I would write lyrics and I would hit periods of writer's block. And I began to hit a period of creative blockage with my platform because I began to feel like I lost the identity of what the No Truths Barred platform represents. I began to drift off into niches and content that wasn't indicative of who I am as a content creator, nor of who I am as a person. And I found myself in this weird space where I was uninspired. I found myself in this weird space where I felt like I had to try everything else other than what was true to myself. I was in this weird space of feeling like what I was doing didn't matter. I was in this weird space of feeling like, if I put this out, who cares? So it was this combination of things that were kind of, I guess, maybe planting the seeds for this creative blockage. And I tried a few different things to kind of get myself out of the creative blockage, but it was, I could not do it, no matter how hard I tried. But there was a few things that began to work, which is why I said, and let me put this out there, there are more No Truths Barred episodes coming. So I just want to put that out there. But nonetheless, the creative blockage is a weird feeling because when you're a creative and you're coming up with different ideas and concepts, you're like, wow, this is great. And you feel invigorated and the muse is there. And so you can go and create more and you can produce different ideas. But I literally had a blockage. I could not think of nothing creative. I would try to come up with some stuff, then I would view it and I would scrap it. I would say, hey, you know what? This just isn't good. This isn't really anything I think people will really want to see or people would want to consume. So therefore, I would scrap all of these different concepts. I probably have about maybe 15 videos and things that I've done over the past few months that I just are there. But I'm like, I don't want to put them out, or either like there were probably more than 15 because some just got straight up deleted. And so I had this mental blockage, this creative blockage that just would not go away. And I think another thing that it grew from was just the people pleasing. I was so on edge about people pleasing. I was so on edge about what people would think of me. Then I think this kind of made this creative drought happen to me on a creative level. But it was just a period of just dryness. And because I love to create things, because I love to inspire people, because I like to see people enjoy and engage and have dialogue related to my content, it hurt my self-esteem. I felt afloat, adrift, because one of the things that I love most in this world, I was just unable to do. And I said, hey, you know what? Maybe this is the end for this platform. Maybe I'm done. Maybe I'm finished. Maybe there's really nowhere else to go, and I need to hang it up. But a lot of prayer, meditation, journaling, going to the gym more, being around positive people. These things began to work on my inspiration. These things began to reintroduce the muse back into my circumference of creativity. But it was a rough period that lasted a few months, and I really thought about hanging it up with the platform. I really thought about just giving up and not doing this again. But I began to get that momentum back. But then the other thing that stopped me, I guess it kind of comes into the people pleasing, the validation aspect, was that I legitimately had people, like I said earlier, that told me that this would fail, that told me that what I'm doing is worthless. And I'm not exaggerating. And there was a part of me, and it goes back to being egoic, that could not let those people win. I'm doing it for myself because this is what I love, whether I have 1 view or 100,000 views. This is my passion. This is something that God placed in my heart. I don't know why. I have goals for where I want this platform to go. But I don't know what the Most High wants with it, but it's something that's in me. I can't get rid of it. I've tried so many times, but it's here. And I couldn't let those voices know that they made me give this up, that they made me hang up my platform, something that I put blood, sweat, tears, and money into. I'm never going to give anybody that sort of win. So yeah, the creative blockage is another reason why I stopped creating content. The third reason I stopped creating content was because of the growth of relationship podcasts and this gender war. Now, I'm inspired by other content creators. I'm inspired by other YouTubers and podcasters. And I've told many people before, Joe Rogan is my influence. Joe Rogan's the reason why I even wanted to start podcasting. When I listened to an episode of his back in I think about 2015, Joe Rogan is my influence. But not only Joe Rogan, I listen to other content creators and other independent, smaller content creators. But I started to notice that primarily many of the new platforms that were coming out were all oriented towards relationships and this sick, horrible, divisive gender war. This online gender war and content creators that spew anti-Black woman rhetoric, or content creators that spew anti-Black man rhetoric. If you have a platform and your whole entire platform, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, is saying and talking about everything that's wrong with Black men on such a granular level, or if your whole platform is dedicated to talking about everything that's just wrong with Black women on such a granular level, you are an idiot, you're a fool, you're toxic, and you're counterproductive to any sort of progress to African American people. And honestly, any platform, whether it's a Cynthia G, any platform, whether it's a Fresh and Fit, any platform where you're talking about Black male babies should be aborted, any platform where you're constantly trying to come down on Black men, any platform where you're talking about Black women being masculine and the least likely to get married, and you make money off of exploiting division amongst black men and women, I hope your platform fails and it gets canceled. So now that I have that out of the way, I saw all of this negative, toxic stuff online, and that also made me want to fall back from making content. And I apologize for lumping the relationship podcast into this gender war. Sometimes they can kind of be interchangeable, but more specifically, the whole gender war thing, it really was a Debbie Downer with my creativity. I noticed more and more, especially amongst black content creators. I mean, you see it amongst many other groups, but it seems to be a thing that's really on the rise right now, is for young black content creators. Their whole platform is dedicated to talking about the perceived shortcomings of black men and black women, that black women should divest, or black men should divest, and become passport bros. I don't really know how beneficial this sort of conversation is to a community that's already suffering from low marriage rates, to a community that is already going through it economically, on every facet of a socioeconomic level. I don't really see the benefit of these sorts of conversations and this perpetuated online gender war. I don't really see a benefit of it. As a people, I've seen asinine commentary where people say things like black women shouldn't have children from black men anymore, men in general, or, men need to just go their own way. The whole MGTOW thing, men need to go their own way and not bother with women. It's just a lot of toxicity. And in that, I think also played a part in me falling back from the YouTube thing and falling back from social media in general, because there was a period where I just was not on social media at all. So these things went into me leaving away from creating content and doing my passion of what I love, which is podcasting and YouTubing. The last and final thing that made me step away from being a content creator is Instagram. Instagram is the most toxic social media app. It's the app based upon comparison. It's the app where monitoring spirits dwell. It's the app where people are allowed to exercise their envy and take subliminal shots at you via social media. And what you notice with Instagram, these aren't even really people that follow you because they gravitate towards your content. These are just basically a collection of people that you have snowballed or piled up on top of each other over the years. This collection of people that you've met through school, that you've met through work, that you've met through church or the masjid or volunteer groups that just follow you. And I noticed with Instagram, it's predicated upon we're going to keep tabs on each other. I had an incident recently where someone who I tried to call them on multiple occasions, their stepfather used to be a barber of mine. And I tried to call this brother on many occasions like, yo, man, let's chop it up. Let's get up, shoot some pool. No responses to my phone calls. I shot a text like, yo, man, hope all is good. Never heard from this guy. Now, the contact number is the same as the brother that that was my barber at one particular point. This person tries to follow me on Instagram. So in my mind, this is what I don't get about social media. And this is what I don't understand about many of these apps. On Instagram specifically, people will not like you. People will be disgusted by you, but people will want to follow you and observe what you're doing on a daily basis. What is the sense and the logic in that? If you do not like somebody, if you do not want to be around them, why are you following them on social media? It makes no sense to me. But Instagram was one of the reasons I was like, I'm getting off of social media. I must be a glutton for punishment because I reactivated Instagram. But nonetheless, Instagram is basically an app of comparison. People but basically just kind of curate their lives and share the highlight reel of everything that's going on. And there's nothing wrong with that, because if you have a business, a brand, you're running for a political office, there are things that you're actively doing. I get it. I understand it. You have to promote, and it's a great tool to get yourself out there. That's kind of like why I went ahead and reactivate my Instagram pages. I may react my oldest one soon as well. So I get the usage of it, but nonetheless, I cannot act like it's not a toxic app. I cannot act like it's not a place where people just monitor and observe one another and never interact with people. I just really don't understand it. It's really peculiar and it's really odd. So yeah, Instagram. But nonetheless, like I said, I stopped creating content because of people pleasing, fear of failure, fear of being judged, fear of people rejecting me and not thinking that I'm good enough. And even my own self-doubts, my own idiosyncrasies. These are things that I had to battle and struggle with. And also there was some other projects I got into. I'm working on some things. I don't want to put what I'm working on out there because I believe the evil eyes are a thing, and sometimes people can sabotage what you're trying to do on a spiritual level. Certain things I keep to myself, but nonetheless, I wanted to do this video, this Saturday Night Confessional, to just let people know why I stopped creating content. And no, I'm not giving up the No Truths Barred podcast, but there's a few things under review. But I am coming back with new episodes. I would like to gun for the middle of December. If not the middle of December, then the top of the year, for brand new actual episodes with guests and a few other things as well. But once again, this is my Saturday Night Confessional. It was really transparent. I spoke about some things in here that I didn't really feel too comfortable speaking about, but nonetheless, I wanted to keep it real with you. Also, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is the No Truths Barred podcast YouTube channel. Make sure you're following me as well on Twitter. So I'm on Twitter, No Truths Barred Podcast, or writer_H Kwaku, KWAKU. And once again, make sure you subscribe to the channel and keep an eye out for more content. And just because I said that new episodes may not come out to the top of the year doesn't mean that I'm not going to be doing some cool content. So make sure you're keeping an eye out. But once again, this is my Saturday Night Confessional. Please, please, please share the content, leave comments below, like the video, and subscribe to the page. Much love. I'm so glad to be back. And my final message is, on this video, at least I have a lot more messages, but on this video, I just want to say, never let no one deter you from your dreams. Never let anybody make you feel lesser than for something that you're passionate about. Never let people come to you and tell you that you're going to fail at something that you're passionate about. Never let people try to exploit you or manipulate you or just jump on your concepts or different things you're trying to do without doing things in an ethical manner. Stand on your square, stand strong, and fight for what you love and fight for what you believe in, and keep going no matter what, because there's a prize out there waiting for you. And that thought, that dream, that idea that the universe put in you is there for a reason, and you're here for a reason. So once again, thank you for checking out my Saturday Night Confessional. Much love. Peace.